Hello everybody, welcome back to the Full-Time Show with Connor, where we speak about all the championship clubs involved in the automatic promotion. How are you doing? Make sure you're liking the video, subscribing, and let me know your thoughts, whoever you support. Really interested to hear what you think about the current trajectory of your club and Leeds United, top of the pile at this moment in time. As a Leeds United fan, that is fantastic to hear. Everybody, we're going to be starting off with Sunderland, who reside in 4th now. I have to say, Regis Labrie has had a superb start to his campaign, his tenure at Sunderland. I think he's been arguably the manager of the season, and you look at him competing with a lot of the parachute payment clubs at this moment in time, of which Leeds United are involved in, Burnley and Sheffield United. And I have to say, with the youth in their squad, I've been so impressed. Chris Rigg naturally being the highlight of that. Mundell, still Hume, Dan Ballard, Patterson, they're all still youngish lads who are really stepping up to the plate and causing a problem. They're causing a headache, and 1 defeat in 16. And I have to say, maybe a little bit of an undeserved win in their biggest highlighted game of recent times at Sheffield United, of which I thought the first half they bossed. Looking at Sunderland and thinking if they get a couple of January additions, they're going to be well in it. I mean, a draw away at Blackburn isn't the worst result. Leonard, with an equaliser in the last minute, they still scored 2 past them. Blackburn, bearing in mind, had about 6 clean sheets on the bounce, and Sunderland have gone there and scored twice. So listen, I think Sunderland is still in it. I think they're still right in it, and I think, as I've said, there are going to be twists and turns at this level. We all know this, and I think Sunderland are going to be there. And you've got to think, if they reproduce what they've done again, going to be really close, and I think they will. I think there's going to be some improvements in January. They're going to have to do it. Sunderland are probably the clearest side of which you have to improve in terms of just depth, because of what they've had to deal with. Brown, obviously, with his broken leg, Mundell with his hamstring injury, but they've got a case of injuries as well. They've got to improve. They've got to get that depth up and toward the upper echelon of the division, because I think quality and depth as well is huge, absolutely huge going into the latter half of this season. But yeah, you look at the budget that they've got in comparison to the top 3, and it's so impressive, very, very impressive, Sunderland. So Regis Labrie has done a very, very good job. So yeah, it's been a good start to the season for Sunderland. A draw away at Blackburn is not the worst result. Listen, we got beat there, so I'd have bitten your hands off toward the end for a point at Blackburn. So yeah, moving on up anyway. So we're looking at Burnley. Koleosho on the bench, J. Rodriguez on the bench, Ekdal on the bench, Worrell on the bench, Perez on the bench as well. And you look at this and you think they've still got depth, and they've still got players to come back as well. They've still got a litany of players to come back. Sarmiento, Bayer, who was fantastic in the Championship in that one season, Manuel Benson, they've still got to come back. Sarmiento, this is all early January as well. So this Burnley side, I think, they're not at where they need to be yet in terms of where I think they can perform. I think their XG throughout the season has been pretty limited with the forward options that they have, and the chance creation hasn't been great. Is that a Scott Parker issue? That's a conversation to be had. But Burnley are almost a little bit like a machine, I feel, and they're going to, in my opinion, kick into gear in the second half of the season. I think they're the ones that I'm looking at right now and thinking, look, they can go for a forward. They've got Lyle Foster, who's still on the bench as well. That's another depth option they have. They've got Zian Fleming. They've got J. Rodriguez, at this level will still perform and will still score probably 8 to 10 goals in a contributor to a promotion push. But I think overall, if they do something in January as well, once again, it's a parachute payment side. If they do something in January, they bring in a big player for their, potentially number 9 spot or a number 10 position as well. Burnley are going to be a big problem. They're not conceding goals, guys. When you don't concede a goal, you've conceded 9 goals nearly in the first half of the campaign. That is extremely good. So yeah, it's highly impressive from Burnley, and if they're able to sort out some of the consistency issues, they're going to be a big problem. And I mentioned this yesterday, they could still win the league, that they're right in with a chance of winning this division. The away form's very impressive. I think if you sort your away form out, the home form in essence really will start to equalise over the season as well when confidence builds, because I think confidence is a great builder away from home, and it really solidifies a mentality, because you're going onto an opposition's patch and you're saying, right, we're going to take 3 points off you, and you go and do that. They've done it with Leeds, and they've done it with Sheffield United, so that's going to give them great confidence and a really, I thought, dominant overall win against Sheffield United. And yeah, they just controlled that second half. They didn't really struggle at the back. I thought Kiefer Moore really struggled to get any sort of momentum in the game, and they sort of dealt with him quite easily, to be honest with you. I think Egan Riley and Esteve at the back are doing a really good job. And yeah, Burnley are dangerous. There's no other way of saying it. So moving on to Sheffield United, everybody, this is an interesting one. Harry Souttar yesterday looked like he was in a little bit of problematic settings when it came to an injury. Sousa, is he going to be all right for this one? Looked like he had a little bit of a hamstring issue. But maybe they're, weirdly, and this is how football changes, maybe they're a bit of a problem state right now when it comes to, and it's not a long-term problem, but a short-term problem in terms of what they need to do. I think the new takeover is symptomatic of the Blades having to go into the window and do something. And why I say it's symptomatic is because, you know, their first real game was yesterday against Burnley. They lost the game. I thought Burnley were the better team, and there's potentially injuries to two of their best players in Vinny and Harry Souttar. With also an injury, a long-term injury, a season injury to arguably the best player in Ollie Arblaster. So I think they have to do something. I do wonder in that midfield with Siddy Peck in there, if maybe Tom Davies has to start. You know, Premier League experience, you've got a young lad in Siddy Peck here who's just come in, and has he got the experience, has he got the guile to get them through these moments? We know Tom Davies pops up in the big moments. He did so against Sunderland in a massive game, of which I thought maybe Sheffield United were quite fortuitous in that game. And that brings you on to the Chris Wilder talk. Can he deal with these big game moments at this stage? You know, he's struggled against Leeds United to really get a grip in the game. Burnley struggled to get a grip in the game. Borough, I thought Borough were the better team on the day against Sheffield United in that 1-0 loss. Against Sunderland as well, I thought Sunderland for about 60-65 minutes were the better team. Then Sheffield United's depth came to the fore, where, you know, they brought Tom Davies on. I thought that's when Tyrese Campbell came into it a little bit. But I do wonder with Wilder if he's a little bit more cautious in these big games. I was watching Gilchrist yesterday in particular, because on one side I thought they had some excellent overlapping runs when it came to Harrison Burrows and Gus Hamer, but on the Gilchrist side I don't think there's enough offered. And there's also a problem, so defensively I think he's okay, but I think going forward he's a bit limited. And they've also got a bit of a problem, Sheffield United, when it comes to Callum O'Hare and Gus Hamer. It makes no sense. Callum O'Hare for me drifts way too much, way too much out of games. And Gus Hamer, or Hamer, however you want to pronounce it, for the life of me, I can't understand why he is not playing in that number 10 role. You've got Ryan Brewster in there, who actually I thought maybe yesterday was quite unlucky, because Kiefer Moore was trying to split those centre-backs in Esteve and Egan Riley, but he's just not quick enough. He's not able to get onto the ball. I thought Ryan Brewster was maybe a little bit quicker in thought than Kiefer Moore, and just playing the ball quickly, get the ball out of his feet, playing that next ball. And Kiefer Moore just wasn't able to get onto that. A couple of balls went astray through when they actually split the centre-backs. But I do wonder how they will go about this January, because it's a big month for Sheffield United, because I think the new owners have got to prove themselves. There's a conversation right now with Harry Souttar and you know, Anel, and do they need another centre back in there? How badly is he hurt? And I just wonder whether or not the Sheffield United fans are getting a little bit annoyed at the fact that Ryan Brewster is starting in that number 10 when you have Callum O'Hare and you have Gus Hamer, who are ready-made number 10s at this championship level. So they've been the losers of this weekend, Sheffield United, I have to say. Burnley, excellent performance there, probably the result of the weekend, you'd have to say. Sunderland, I think, still a decent point away at Blackburn, but Leeds United, it has to be said, are the winners this weekend, going top of the division. And if Leeds can sort out that away form, I think we're going to be difficult to stop, to be honest, with the depth that we've got. And that is the depth that maybe Sheffield United fans need to take out of this. What they're able to bring on in Burnley in terms of Koleosho, Lyle Foster, you know, Worrell, Ekdal to change the games, you know, for different periods. Of course, Jay Rodriguez, Leeds United, Tanaka, Laji Ramazani, Gilavoggi, Willian Yonso, Matteo Joseph. These are all really good options from the bench. So I wonder how that's going to fare with Sheffield United in this next period. But it's going to be fascinating to see. Let us know what you think in the comment section below, everybody. And game week coming up next is going to be a saucy one. Leeds away at Derby, Burnley with a tricky one, Sheffield United against West Bromwich Albion, and Sunderland you'd expect with a pretty winnable game. Let us know what you think, everybody. I'll see you in a bit.